about witchcraft, or rather my personal journey into witchcraft. I also apologize for not uploading in a while, but I had some difficulty filming, so I decided, well, I have a quick chance now, I feel up to it, so let's just do it. Because I also don't film my videos if I don't feel like filming, because otherwise it comes out a little less than. And I also just took a swim, so that's why my hair is wet, but you know, no time like right now. So I just want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of witchcraft today, and to kind of talk about other people's perception about witchcraft, if, people close to you kind of find out you're into witchcraft, and, also, how does a person get into witchcraft? Because the number one question people usually ask is, do you have to be born a witch, or can you just learn it later in life? So I'd say yes and yes, you can learn it later in life. It just takes a little bit more learning. Not like if you're born a witch, you don't have to do any study and learning at all, because you do quite a bit. It's just, if you're born a witch, you most likely have more natural abilities than someone that wasn't born a witch. Now, what does it mean to be born a witch? Well, most likely means that some of your ancestors practiced witchcraft, so it runs in your blood. Some people are also born with special abilities like, clairvoyance and such. So those are also considered abilities of a witch. And also some people are born an empath, which is also another big thing that a witch usually has. Again, then being born a witch can also mean that in your past life you might have been a witch. Now, how do you really know that? Because, you don't really know if you had a past life. Some people don't even believe in past lives. But there's something called past life regression. I personally did it, and that's how I also found out a little bit more about my past. So I'm actually a born witch. I had family members that were into witchcraft, and I was also a witch in a past life. So I'm very natural in most of my abilities that I have. Now, what about abilities do I have? Well, I have psychic knowing, which is claircognizant, and if I pronounce that wrong, like, I have the ability that I struggle to pronounce the most, which is just ironic, but yeah, I have psychic knowing. I'm also an empath, and I also have the ability to manipulate energy, which is a big thing most born witches can have as well. So being able to manipulate energy basically just means, sometimes you feel other people's energy, sometimes you can just manipulate small things, okay, like, I've seen people bend flames, or, bend water or something, but that takes years of practice, and you have to be born with the elemental gift as well. Now, elemental gifts is a bit different than witchy gifts or psychic abilities, because elemental magic, it was said back in the old days that humans were born with one elemental power, so that you can manipulate one element. So some were born with fire, some were born with water element powers, so basically that means you can manipulate that element which you were born with. Some people could later learn to manipulate the other elements as well. This is not a very well-known phenomenon amongst most witches, but, I personally try to practice to manipulate elements, and I actually find that wind is actually the easiest one, and the hardest one, personally, I'd say is earth. But, that's just up to personal, abilities. So also other witchy abilities include being able to read people's auras, or see people's auras, or, just be able to read a person, not like read their mind, but you can kind of read their energy, so, like, if a person's sad, you can pick up on that. And most likely, if you're an empath, you don't like being around other people. I mean, you love people, but you don't like being around them, because some people's energy can be very overwhelming and overpowering. You also probably don't like big crowds. So also, my personal journey into witchcraft, like I said, I was kind of born a witch, but I knew I had abilities, and I just kind of suppressed them because I had like a kind of a tough childhood, and it's kind of a long story, but, I was like bullied in school and stuff also a lot, so I didn't want to be different. I just kind of wanted to fit in so that people would just maybe accept me a little more. And then I went through a really traumatic experience a couple of years ago. I did a video on it over on my channel, which you can go check out. I'll link it below, because I don't want to get into full details over here now, because it's not what this video is about, and it's not going to contribute. So basically I was just like in a very abusive relationship, and you know, that's kind of where my journey into witchcraft started, because usually witches also had a tough childhood or something very traumatic happened to them. A very large majority of witches had a childhood like that. Okay, so when I went through that traumatic experience, I noticed that I had demonic attachments to me. So what do you do if you have demonic attachments to you? Well, if you're not a witch, your first reaction is go to a church. That was probably the worst mistake ever, and I'll tell you why. Church people are like, they want to destroy everything for some unknown reason. Like everything that goes like against what they stand for, they want to destroy. So first time around, I had to burn a couple of my objects that I owned. Amongst that was like Dreamcatcher's books, especially my horror books like Stephen King, which I'm a really big fan of. So I was not very happy about that. Also some knives, some of my jewelry, and also a necklace that had a Dreamcatcher on, which was actually gifted to me by my cousin one Christmas, so I was not very happy about that either. So that's just amongst, also some of my drawings and stuff, you know, like I like to draw my emotions, and you know, when I went through depression and trauma obviously, so my drawings were kind of dark, so that scared them and I had to burn my drawings. Okay. Then, second time around, I had to burn all of my fairy things. Now, for those of you who stuck around on my channel for a while, you know when I was a kid, my room was fairies. And I still had a couple of things from my childhood. Especially if you guys ever watched Lord of the Rings, you know those talking trees? I had like a statue that was like this big about like of the tree, and I had to burn that too. Some old Barbies I still had that my grandmother that passed away gave to me. It was the Sun and the Moon fairy, like from Barbie Fairytopia. I had to burn them. I had to burn some clothing from some antique dolls that was like my great-grandmother's dolls. So I had to burn that, and I had to burn like anything, you know, all my rosaries and crosses that, you know, the crucifix with the little Jesus on. My mother had to burn her antiquity scene, which is Jesus' birth scene, and also all of the gnomes and stuff we had in our garden, all of the Africa stuff we had in our house. You know, I'm from South Africa. We had a lot of tribal, native African things in our house because it's, you know, it builds on the history of where we live, you know. Also anything Egypt. We had to destroy all of that. Burn it. So yes, it was quite difficult. I probably left, you know, one or two things out, but that was amongst some of the things. Oh wait, I forgot. We also had to burn our Angry Bird stuff. Like, my fiance gifted me a couple of Angry Bird things because I kind of like the cartoon. It was kind of cute, and you know, it was like some keychains and like a USB that looked like red, and you know, stuff like that, and I just had to burn it, and it was so sad. And not to mention that all of this plastic burning is probably not doing wonders for the environment and the atmosphere. I mean, come on. But you know, Christians are like, burn it all. Okay, so I'm a horror fan, and I love Ed and Lorraine Warren's work. So it turns out burning things is not the best way you can go about getting rid of something when demons are involved, you know? So yes, apparently if you have Ouija boards even that you don't really want anymore, you have to bury them. Burning is not the way to go. So yes, I was kind of pissed off about all of that, and I kind of still am a little bit. I don't know if you guys noticed, but you know, that's the Christian point of view. So yeah, then I started questioning the church. I started questioning a lot of things. I've been through a lot in my life, so I questioned everything. I started doing research, and I came across witchcraft, or rather witchcraft came across me. And I started studying into it, and I started being like, oh my holy hell, this is totally me. Like, I resonate with everything that I read, and I did like a lot of research. I got different opinions from different people. I started watching YouTube videos on people that's into witchcraft, and I was like, yeah, I can totally do this. Before I even did the research, I was already collecting crystals, which, you know, witchy. Then I started getting like into incense, and I got a tarot deck, which tarot deck was the only thing my parents were actually skeptical about, but the rest they didn't really mind. I actually just had a very casual conversation with them about me being a witch, and they were just like, oh, okay, that's interesting, you know, tell us more. And I kind of just opened up, and my fiance was also very accepting. He didn't even blink an eye when I said I was a witch. He was just like, oh, cool, well, I'm glad you do this thing that makes you so happy. You're helping other people, and, you know, he was really understanding, but some people aren't that understanding. Most people you encounter, if they realize you're a witch, they think you're into Satan worshipping, and you're into Satanism, and, you know, it's just, everything's satanic, tarot cards are demonic, you know, you're just summoning demons, you know. Half of the witches I know, like, you know, the majority of them actually don't even believe in the devil or the existence of hell. So, yeah. And by the way, you know, witchcraft isn't even a religion, it's just a life path. Things like Wicca, pagan, Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism, whatever, Satanism even, those are kind of religions, but, you know, witchcraft is not a religion. You know, you can be in any religion and still practice witchcraft. I know in Wicca and pagan religions, they tend to practice witchcraft a little more, and even Satanism. Christianity is not that well known for having their witches, but I kind of started out as a Christian witch, and then I just forsaked my religion completely because Christians are just so judgmental, and, you know, I couldn't take it anymore because I have tattoos too, and, you know, they think I'm like a Satanist. I was like, I can't even go to church anymore without being looked at funny. So I just decided, you know what, screw religion, I'm not doing this anymore. So I just discovered, you know, you don't have to have religion to have faith. And technically, I still serve the same God, or, you know, it's like the same concept, but, you know, God is in everything, so I kind of serve what is called the universe. God is in everything, He's within us, so technically God is everything. So that is why I say the universe. That is my identity for God, okay? So that is what I believe in. I also work with a couple of deities on occasion, but I don't specifically serve a certain deity. I also work with angels and with my spirit guides. So, you know, witchcraft, all in all, people think you're like this, you know, different. People really treat you differently. They think you're this different person. In reality, you're just like a normal person. I have off days, days where I just want to stay in bed and sleep. I have days where I am depressed and miserable. I have happy days, I have sad days, I have interesting days. And no, I don't feel witchy every day. I try to incorporate witchcraft into my daily life by, you know, taking a spiritual bath, cleansing, protecting myself. I'm gonna make an entire video on cleansing and protecting, but, you know, those are a witch's bread and butter. So I try to incorporate some things into my daily life, also by wearing crystals and stuff, and, you know, it works wonders for me. Witchcraft is also the most freeing thing you can get into, because you're no longer bound by religion and rules, and, you know, you're just free to be who you are, to be who you want to be. Nobody's craft is exactly the same, so I can sit here and I can tell you, okay, well, I do this and this and this and this in my craft, but you're not necessarily going to vibe with that. You're not necessarily going to do this and this and this in your craft. You're going to do that or that, you know. You know, for example, like, I do crystals and tarot. You're not necessarily going to vibe with that. Maybe you're more into candle magic, or, you know, elemental magic, or anything of that sort, you know. So nobody is exactly the same. Everyone's craft is kind of personalized. So I see regularly on Facebook people asking about things in their craft, you know, what does a beginner witch need? What do I need to get started into witchcraft? No, that's up to personal preferences, you know. But I say you can never have too much information, so just do research on everything. Question everything. Don't take anyone's opinion. Just question everything. Do research. Do research. Like, you're never gonna stop doing research. But, like, I like to tell people not to take anyone's opinion for things. Not even my opinion. Over on my channel, I'm just like, you know, I can tell you guys all of this fantastic things, but, you know, just, you don't have to take my opinion. You don't have to. I am no one special, you know. I'm not here trying to tell you that you have to be a certain way in your craft, because you do spirituality your own way. So does the other person. So it's really up to personal preferences. But then also, a lot of people ask, like, how do you go about telling people you're a witch? Probably don't use the word witch. Try using an alternative word like spiritual healer or whatever, and try to kind of explain to them more gently what you're doing. But, you know, most people's reaction, like I said, is like just Satanist. It's just exhausting most of the time. Right now, I just, like, when people tell me I'm a Satanist, I kind of just laugh, because it's just so stupid and closed-minded. Like, how can you think everything you don't agree with? I know the word Satan means opposition, but honestly, not everything is the work of the devil. So, yes, I mean, it's also like the way you use things. You know, what I also say a lot on my channel is, like, everything has the potential to be good, and everything has the potential to be evil. It's just the way you use it, the way you interpret it, you know, what you do with it, you know? Like a knife. A knife is just a knife. A gun is just a gun. But put it in the hands of the wrong person, and that can be a deadly weapon. Put it in the hand of someone that knows what they're doing. Maybe they can hunt and they can get some food for you. You understand? So it's up to personal use, you know, what you do with it. You are the only person that can make the choice. Do you want to be bad or do you want to be good? That's a daily choice each of us has to make. A tarot deck is just cards. It's just paper cards, okay? It's nothing special. It's just visual representations of certain energies that we can tap into to get a better understanding. I like to tell people tarot cards are like, you know, kind of like a weather prediction. You know, it's not always set in stone, and it's kind of like gives you that little picture ahead about what you can expect. But it's not always going to be like that. I've been actively practicing witchcraft for a little over a year now, and it's been working great for me. I've seen a lot of improvement in myself, which is another thing witchcraft is really good at, is working with yourself, working on yourself and healing your own wounds before you heal other people's wounds. And I also have the opportunity to help so much other people, and just being here, this is just an amazing opportunity for me just to be able to sit here and talk to you guys and just spread information and just kind of to be there. No, we don't have to be all professional all the time. We just can sit here and share like stories and experiences, but I really like to share information and to help other people and to guide other people, because, you know, I just want to let people know that you're not alone in this. You know, if you're going through difficulty, I mean, I had to hide my craft for I think a good 6 months before I got the courage to tell people. The first person I told was actually my fiance, and then it was like my cousin, which he's an atheist, so I just assumed like he would understand. And I kind of asked him, like, how did he tell people, and he told me that he didn't. He just started posting things that he believed in, things he really wanted to post, his truth. And people just made the assumption, and obviously the assumption was correct because he is, but people still call him satanic, and they are very mean to him, and he's one of the most lovely people I know. He's so kind, and he always helps other people. He's just the most selfless, kind person I probably know, and people judge him and call him a Satanist, and I'm like, oh gosh. Well, if he's going to hell, then I'll gladly join him, because he's the most nice person. So if God can throw him in hell just for not believing in him, then that's a very egotistical God, and I don't think I want to believe in that anyway. So I'm really sorry if I offended any Christians in this video. You know, nothing personal, it's just my personal beliefs. But like I said, every person has their own beliefs, and it's up to us as individuals to respect each other person for their beliefs, to not judge, because, you know, you have to give to other people what you want to receive. Now, in Wicca, they kind of believe in the threefold law. Whatever you send out comes back to you times 3. So if you send out judgment and hate, that's going to come back to you multiplied and quadrupled, and, you know, you're not going to like the results. So personally, I'm not a Wiccan either. Like, I'm just a witch. I don't associate myself with any other tags. I don't have religion. I'm just a witch. That's it. I don't associate with all of these subcategories. It's just very stereotypical to me. Like, no, I'm a sea witch, I'm a water witch, I'm an elemental witch, I'm a this witch, I'm a that witch, I'm a hearth witch, I'm a kitchen witch, I'm a crystal witch, I'm a candle witch. I don't care. You're still a witch. It's just stereotypical. And if you do anything out of that group, out of that category, then are you still a kitchen witch? Are you still a candle witch? It's just kind of, it's just too extra for me, you know. It's not necessary. You're a witch and you can just do in your craft whatever you want to. You don't need to be restricted by these categories and these stereotypes. You don't really need that, okay? So just be you. This is the number one tip in witchcraft. Just be you. Do what you want to do, be you. So yeah, I think this is it, guys. This is all that I kind of wanted to say. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what is it like being a witch, because there's a lot of difficulties with other people thinking you're a Satanist. So this is it for this video, guys. I just kind of wanted to sit here and tell you guys a little bit of what it's like to be in the craft, and that it's okay if you don't feel witchy every day. You know, it's okay if you're different, because every witch is. And if you don't like the word witch, then pick another word like spiritual healer or spiritual practitioner. You know, you don't need to be constricted and confined by a specific title either. All of the links will be down in the description below. You know, go check out that video I told you about my traumatic experience if you're interested in knowing more about exactly what I went through before I started into witchcraft, what kind of initiated my push, because it was also to do with a lot of spiritual awakenings, and once you have a spiritual awakening, you keep having spiritual awakenings. So that's all for today, my intuitive people. I hope you guys have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever the time is when you're watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bless, guys. Bye!